Yo, what is up, y'all? Mental Muscle Coach here, and we got a dope video today that you're definitely not gonna wanna miss. This is all about why couples who are in love aren't having as much sex. Now, admittedly, while I'm using the concept of sex and the frequency and quality of that sex manifesting within relationships, particularly long-term relationships, while I'm using that as the surface level focal point, I really want to talk about something much deeper, because sex and intimacy, that overarching concept, is really something that serves as a metaphor and as a very powerful telltale to the quality of relationships themselves. How do we engage in them? How do we enter them? What are the expectations that we have within relationships? And where are we getting it wrong? Because ultimately, how many of us can say that we have a couple that we can look to in our lives, where they are a clear model of a paradigm couple, so to speak, where we can look at the different behaviors, the different tools they employ, the different elements of their interaction, and based upon that, we can say, oh, okay, I see these different things they're doing that are helping to facilitate long-term success in keeping the excitement alive, in keeping the spontaneity around, where they not only love each other and are excited to be together, but there is this progression, there is this increase, there is this improvement over time, as opposed to this gradual decay that we typically expect in relationships, to the point where we even make jokes about it and make memes about it. It's like if you're able to be in a relationship for 5 years and you don't want to kill each other, or you're not looking at each other with a side eye half the time, then that's a big deal. That's an incredibly dysfunctional mindset, and it shows you how lacking in hope and excitement and how we don't really see relationships as promising anymore. We see them simply as work and as this scary endeavor, as opposed to something that's truly beautiful that we can cultivate when we have the understanding of what they really are and how to navigate them. So relating that to the topic of this video, why it is that couples who are in love aren't having sex. The first thing we need to do before I really attack that concept head on is to understand what it is that our society has caused us to perceive relationship as. That over time, relationship has really switched from simply this thing where back in the day, 50, 100 years ago, it was more so this thing of where it was like the societal union, where people getting together, people marrying, so to speak, was almost like this union that was going to cause a benefit in reference to societal status, in reference to, finances and things like that. And so it was kind of like this team get together, if you will, almost like a business deal, whereas now we see, and Esther Perel, who wrote the absolutely amazing book, Mating in Captivity. She's a relationship expert. I highly recommend you guys checking her out. She's got some powerful shit on relationships. But what she talks about is, nowadays, relationship has actually taken over. It's not only supplemented, it has taken over the place of religion in society, where we're not only looking for our partners to meet particular needs or to serve the purpose of creating this union that can raise our status and our ability to move through life in an easier and positive way, but we're looking at relationships for this means of completion, where we're looking at them to not only meet our physical needs through sex and what have you, but meet our societal needs. How is this going to add to finances? How is your financial stability going to, merge up with mine? We're also looking for them not to add to our emotional stability, but to, for many of us, ultimately complete our emotional stability, serve as the stable foundation from which we can emote on a daily basis. We look for the relationship to remind us that we're worthy. We look for the relationship to feed all of these things that are not only external, but also internal. And so you can almost say that in the way that we look in spirituality for this concept of enlightenment, where there's this moment where there's like where now I've reached the moment where I've transcended my ego and my mind and enlightenment has occurred. And that same idea, doesn't that kind of sound like how we think of soulmates and how we think of finding the one? We think there's going to be this person that suddenly just meets all of our needs. And when I find that person, then everything's going to be Gucci. I'm going to be happy long term. But here is the link, here is the connection between sex and everything I've been talking about. All of these different elements of what it is that we look for relationship to complete for us and within us. What is the connection between all of those things? That is a shit ton of responsibilities that we are linking, a lot of expectations that we are linking to the relationship itself. And so as a result, think about the areas of your life where there's an immense amount of responsibility and expectation, just continuously, where there's these needs that need to be met. That creates this immense level of stress, like when you're at work, when you're bogged down with a heavy workload and your boss has these immense expectations of what you need to meet. That's going to create stress. It's going to create this tunnel vision. It's going to create this lack of adventure and fun and spontaneity. And so while obviously responsibilities are necessary, particularly in the area of relationship, how do you manage the two? How do you manage spontaneity and excitement and freedom and adventure with this claustrophobia of necessity that we place on who it is that we're with? Because here's what I want you to get. Have you ever stopped and thought about genuinely what it is that seems so fiery, what it is that seems so exciting and ooh and dirty and freaky and wild and unexpected about an affair to someone who's been in a marriage for 20 years? When that person who has lived with their spouse and had kids with their spouse and they've done virtually everything with them, they've seen all their best moves in the bedroom, they've talked to them, they understand the intricacies of their lives and what have you, but then they see that person at work, that person who is enigmatic, who's a mystery, who always smells nice, who's always on point, who always has something sly or witty to say to them, who always gives them that look, that always has this positivity to give towards them, that makes them feel a certain way about themselves. Why is it that when that spouse who goes to work and they see this other person, why is it when they fantasize about them, why is it that there's this immense excitement, why they can start to feel this intense sexual arousal as opposed to connecting it to the person that they've been in a relationship with? It's for the same reason that we love to go watch a brand new movie that we've never seen before. Why would you rather go see that as opposed to the movie that you like, but you've seen 100 times over the past 4 years? It's because that brand new movie has this level of unpredictability. It has this mystery, this enigma to it, this newness. And understand something, that when it comes to our physiology, as a result of the way we've evolved, our brains and our bodies have evolved to give us an increased response to new stimuli. Because if there is stimuli that we deem predictable, it falls victim to something called the law of familiarity. If something is familiar, then to our bodies and to our evolution, that means that it's safe. That means I understand it. That means it's not dangerous. And so think about back in the days when, we had to run from cheetahs and hunt for our food. If we know that a particular area is safe, our brain is saying, okay, I don't need to pay attention to that. But if we're in a new area and there could be a new animal in here that can, run out of the bushes and eat me alive, or just eat me to pieces, then that's a danger. That could cause me to die. So as a result, we have evolved to the point where enigma and mystery, new stimuli, brings out these different elements of us. It causes us to be more physically sensitive. That's the reason we can't tickle ourselves, because our brain is already predicting that tickle happening. But when someone else tickles us, then we can feel the sensation. When we have that unpredictability, when we have that enigma, it can create this heightened sensitivity, not only on our physicality, but in our emotions, but in our arousal, but in our sexuality. You see what I'm saying? Now this thing that used to be something that kept us alive is now causing the elements that we're seeing within the bedrooms of long-term couples. And so the difficult position that loving couples find themselves in is, yes, I as a partner, I understand that it is important to me and it is my job. I desire to be a place of stability and safety and to a large extent predictability for my partner. I want my partner to know that when they come home, they're coming to a safe home. I want my partner to know that when they look in our bank account has stability to it, that we can pay for our bills and we're not living paycheck to paycheck. I want them to know that emotionally there is a level of predictability, that they can come to me and be open. They can express themselves and they can predict certain things in our communication. They can expect that when they speak to me, I'm going to speak back in a way that is loving and respectful. So there is a necessity for me to be predictable and stable. But at the same time, all of those things are conducive to creating love. Love requires that safety. And also in lust and sex, there is a necessity for safety there too. Because if we don't feel safe in sex, how are we going to be aroused? How are you going to be aroused when you have a gun to your head? So yes, it's important for us to have that safety. But at the same time, there is a major element that is required, not just on the mental and emotional level, but on the actual physical and sensory level when it comes to sex. And that is unpredictability, adventure, enigma. Esther Perel says it this way. She says, partners need to know how to welcome themselves into one another's red light district. Come into my red light district. And in order for me to welcome you there, in this moment, I need to not be bogged down by thoughts of the kids and thoughts of what it is that I need to be for you and not what it is that I need to supply. No, in this moment, to feel lust on a physiological, emotional, and mental level, I need to feel free. I need to feel freedom from those expectations and those responsibilities. When we think of love, love is about being able to appreciate and admire and love the elements of the other person. But arousal and lust is about the ability to experience different elements of myself. It's about experiencing that wildness, that freakiness, that excitement that is a part of me that I don't often get to experience. Love is about seeing greatness and amazing things in you. Lust is about bringing out those parts of me that are amazing, that are sensational, that make me feel alive. If you want to engage me in a way that changes how I feel, I need to have the freedom to do that. I need to not feel your insecurities when we're in the bedroom. If I can feel that you are constantly only alert about whether or not you're doing a good job, if I don't feel you with a level of confidence, if I don't feel you with a level of newness and spontaneity where you're trying new things, where I can't predict, one after another, the different moves that you're going to employ. When I get to feel that newness and that excitement and that adventure, now we can create the same lust that someone finds in an affair, but we can bring it into our relationship. So I'll leave you with this, because honestly, I could make this a 30-minute video because there's so many things to break into when it talks about attachment styles. The way you were raised. Esther Perel loves to say that if you show me the way you were loved as a child, I will show you the way you make love as an adult. That is immensely powerful. When we talk about the fact that there's different polarities, the different balance of your masculine and feminine energies, the way that they intertwine and the way that they kind of vibe with the masculine energies and feminine energies of your partner, that also has a role in arousal. But the main thing that I'm trying to focus on is this, is that love and lust and arousal, those two elements are not created by the same factors. That you can have love without lust, you can have lust without love. However, if you want to really maximize your relationship, it takes an intertwining of the two. Yes, you need stability, but yes, you also need excitement, newness, spontaneity. Yes, sweep her off her feet. Yes, do something new for him that he appreciates, but ultimately, keep it fresh, y'all. I love y'all. Mental Muscle Coach out. Peace.